Cikal.
Beneran?
Anak kita akan menampilkan hasil belajarnya selama 1 tahun ini.
Dan akan ada kegiatan juga yang menarik, kreatif, dan seru yang bisa kita ikuti.
Semuanya secara virtual.
Pastikan untuk nonton, untuk melihat keseruan anak-anak ya.
Hanya di
Playground of Learning Journey.
Physically distant, virtually connected.
Hi! Good afternoon, respected teachers, guests, proud parents, and beloved students. Welcome to Cikal Talk, one of the activities in our Playground of Cikal Learning event. Thank you for coming today. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. I am Yulia Indah Lestari, but all my students call me Ibu Tari, and I will be your moderator for this session. Before we begin the individual students' presentation, let me give you a picture of what to expect for the next hour. We have a few students from Year 6 Cilandak that will present reflections of their learning journeys. Each of them will have a maximum of 10 minutes presentation of their learning journeys. And after all the speakers are done, we will open a question and answer session for about 15 minutes. The audience is more than welcome to ask questions to the presenters during that sessions. You can use the chat room to tell your questions. Okay. Now today's speakers are Muhammad Rafe Rizky from Year 6E. Hi, Rafe. And then we got Dimitri Alvaro Windu from Year 6E also. Hi, Alvaro. And we also have Nadine Patmarini Sasabila from Year 6E. Hi, Nadine. And last but not least is Sultan Mikhail Asadel Taib Nafis from Year 6D. Hi, Sultan. Okay, without further ado, let's begin with our first speaker, Rafe. He's going to present his mathematics reflections on geometry. Now, please give a warm welcome to Rafe. Yay!
Hello, my name is Rafe, and today I'm going to be telling you about my math learning journey. So, in my journey, I have learned a lot of things. I've learned how to make 3D shapes and count them, and I found a bunch more things. So, I made a 3D town of what I've learned. So, in this town, there is a mall, 2 houses, 1 hospital, 1 park, 1 school, a subway, a lake, and an airport. So this town, I call it my town because I think I haven't had a name for it, so I think I just should name it my town. So for the building, I used Legos because I thought that Legos wouldn't fall very quickly because usually every time I use clay, it just falls apart. And because the bottom isn't Lego, I stick them with Flox glue to make it stick and won't fall. So, in this town model, I will also be showing you how to make the 3D mall and also how to count the volume of any 3D shape. So, this is my town right here. So I made it entirely out of Legos, and I painted the ground with green as for the park, and also for the playground, I also painted it green. And for the road, I just made white lines. So the way to make the 3D shaped mall is to make a rectangular prism. Try to make it a big one. Don't really fill the inside, so you don't waste that much Lego for the other builds, so you can use for the other builds. And the way to count this build is very simple. You need to count the length, the width, and the height of the building. So this is the length, this is the width, and this is the height. So, for example, the length is 4, and the width is 2, and the height is 1. And because of that, we have to multiply them to find the volume of the 3D shape. So 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So the building is 8. And I measured this to 8 centimeters for the length, the width, and the height. So I had to put 8 centimeters behind the number 8, because if you don't, people are going to confuse it to think as maybe kilometers, meters, maybe even miles. That's why you should put the centimeters in the back if the measurement is centimeters, meters, miles, or kilometers. So if you would like to know a lot more, I can show you right now. So I made the 3D school out of a long rectangular prism, but not that long, and a roof that looks kind of like a house. So this is my school right here. Like I said, it was rectangular prism, and I made the school. I have a triangle in the top. There's two types to count, or two types of ways to count 3D shapes. There is volume and there's surface area. So the volume is length times width times height, like I just told you. And if you want to get the surface area of the building, it's really easy. All you gotta do is length times width, and then times 2, and then length times height times 2, width times height times 2, and then you add them all up. So my answer would be 28 centimeters, because length times width is 4, and it's times 2, which equals to 8, and length times height is 8. But there's times 2 equals to 16, and width times height is 2, times that by 2, and then you get 4, and then you add them all up to 28. 28 centimeters, because the measuring is centimeters. And that's how you get the surface area. So in this project, I also learned a lot about lines and the angles of things, like parallel line, perpendicular line, acute angle, right angle, and also obtuse angle. So a parallel line is two lines going into the same direction and not cutting off. So this is what a parallel line looks like right here. So there's two lines going to the same direction. It's going to the mall, because that's the only way if you want to go to the mall. And perpendicular line is like parallel line, but it's two lines going in different directions, like this, right here. And acute angle is below 90 degrees. So acute angle is like this. And right angle is exactly 90 degrees, like these. Obtuse angle is above 90 degrees, like this. So that's what I have learned for the semester 4 of my learning, and I've also learned a bunch more that I can tell you. And I did face some challenges while doing this. I faced two challenges. Number one, I ran out of Legos because I don't have that much Legos. So the way I fixed it, was I didn't fill the inside of my buildings to not waste that much Legos. And another difficult was that I couldn't find any paintings, but luckily my sister had a bunch of paintings that she got. So I borrowed some from her and I painted them. And also the reason why I made green below the park is because I thought it would make like a grass field, and to make it look like a grass field, like I just said. And I think I can use this experience for a lot of things, like designing a house, maybe designing a town, maybe designing a big building, and I can make a 3D model of it so it would look more realistic, and I'll tell the meters and I'll know how to count them as well. So I think you should also try to count this, not only because it's fun, and it also can benefit you. You can like make more buildings, and if you're an aspiring artist, you can make sculptures of it, and maybe it'll help you someday. And I picked math geometry because I really enjoy math. It's something that I can really enjoy in every learning session. So thank you for listening to me, and hope you like my presentation. Miss, you're muted. Miss, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Wow, that was a very clear and thorough explanation you got there, Rafe. I think I have to agree with Miss Ika when she said that you look like a teacher. Okay, thank you for sharing your journey with us, Rafe. Let's give Rafe a virtual round of applause. Yay! Okay, now let's continue with our next speaker, Alvaro, who will be presenting his mathematics reflection on geometry. Okay, please give a warm welcome to Alvaro. The time is yours, Alvaro.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Dimitri Alvaro Windu from Year 6C, and today I want to talk about my math geometry town model. So my model is created by Lego. Let me just show you my model. Alright, so this is my model. Our teacher said that we can use Lego, so then I used Lego for the material, the model, because I like Lego and thought it would look good. However, because I wanted to use Lego, I had to use a lot of types of Legos. You see, there's a lot of colors going on my model, and some things I wanted to do were really hard to pull off, which I'll explain later. The model includes 2D and 3D shapes, like triangles. This is a triangle, by the way. From this side, it looks like it's reversed, but from this side, it will probably look like a normal triangle. And then cuboids and other shapes. And then parallel lines. Parallel is two lines, but they have space between each other and they don't hit each other, but they're going same like direction, like this one. You see. And then perpendicular lines, it's when they intersect each other. However, they have an angle which is 90 degrees. Like this is 90 degrees, but this is the intersecting lines. And then, yeah. Oh, by the way, these are the streets. And then, lastly, angles. Like right, as I said earlier. Obtuse, this is obtuse, etc. There are streets, I already said that. Buildings, this is a hospital because, well, hospitals they have the color white mostly, so I use the color white for this. And then a school, this is a school, and a restaurant, this is a restaurant. And then these are the houses. And then outside activity, places that has outside activities, like this one. This is the lake, a park, and a playground. This one might be weird because it has a lot of colors, and I'm calling this a playground. But I just know that playgrounds have a lot of colors, so I just made it with a lot of colors. Also, decorations like trees, flowers or plants, and then lights, signs, vehicles such as cars, you see, and many more. Also, I want to mention that the model are based on a sketch we made. Now, let me back here. All right. In the math program, I learned a lot about 2D and 3D shapes, like what the shapes are, which are squares, rectangles, cuboids, kites, and many more. Like their properties as well, which are the properties are sides of the specific shape, and then the vertices, yeah, the angles, and then etc. Afterward, we also learned about the measurements of 2D and 3D shapes, like length, width, base, height, area, perimeter, surface area, volume, and radius, and other topics about them. I had some challenges during this project. One of them about the Lego streets I mentioned in the model. Let me go back again. Right. Okay. So basically, the streets I had weren't like this. It was actually super big, and before I thought I was able to fit on the land, which is this green land, yeah. So then I asked my dad for help, and he came up with the idea to make the streets with pieces that are small, which is what you're seeing right now, but gray, other than using the big ones. Thankfully, his plan worked, and I was able to move on building the other things, like the buildings, houses, etc. Yeah. However, some of the parts may be a bit big. This one, it's not the exact size, or not the same color. This one, this is literally green, and but it was the best we got, and I was fine with it. The reason it's like different, it's because we just ran out of pieces. We ran out of pieces of the same piece of this one. Yeah. The other problem was that since the streets were a bit small, some of the vehicles were bigger than the streets, like this one. You see, it's like the wheels is out of the street instead of on the street, which was a bit funny, but I don't take that problem as a big deal. The next problem was my time management. I had other assignments, but I still needed to make time to complete my Geometry Town model project. Eventually, I was able to finish the project. Here. Okay. The last problem I want to mention is the Lego materials. During the project, sometimes there were some colors or specific blocks I needed, but it was hard to find them because there were a lot, and it was wasting my time a bit. Sometimes I don't even have enough of the specific block or any other shenanigans, so I needed to think of something else. Thankfully, I had my dad, and he was able to help me with some of the problems I had, like the streets. After the project, I realized that I had learned many skills or had improved them, like 2D, like the knowledge about the 2D and 3D shapes, lines, angles, Lego building, etc. I think the skill of Lego building is useful for the future if I want to build more Lego things for something, either like another assignment or just for fun. For the skill of knowing more about 2D and 3D shapes and lines and all that jazz, I think it would be useful if I wanted to do something related to that. For example, like drawing a circle or drawing a cuboid, because of my knowledge about the 2D and 3D shapes. Now I know how to properly draw a cuboid or something that is 3D, and many more. Before doing the project, I thought that it wasn't going to be hard and I was able to finish it fast, but after completing the project, I was wrong. It took a while to finish the project and it was challenging, however, I was able to finish it anyway in time. After completing the entire project, I was full of enjoyment and proudness. I liked the model very much, even though there were some challenges, and some weren't what I wanted, but I'm happy with what I got. I improved my Lego building skills because sometimes I'm not very good at it, or just like sometimes I wouldn't be creative to create something original or something. But looking at my model, I think it is good. This was very fun for me. I like Legos. I like Legos, and building Legos for my project is very fun. I had difficulties, but I was able to overcome them, and I'm happy with the model I got. Thank you so much for listening to my Math Cikal talk, and I hope you have a nice day.
Wow, you have a very cool town there, Alvaro. What a good combination of creative mind and skill. Okay, thank you for sharing with us, and please give Alvaro a virtual round of applause for his talk. Yay! Okay, now let's continue with our next speaker, the third one, Nadine. She's also going to share about her journey in creating Geometry Town in mathematics. Okay, please give a warm welcome to Nadine.
Hi everyone, my name is Nadine, and today I'm going to show and talk about my Geometry Town model. It is a model of a city that I made in my math program. This is what it looks like. The town includes buildings and areas with shapes that I've learned throughout my math program, like cube, parallelogram, cylinder, cuboid, and many more. Some examples of the buildings in my city are an apartment, a hospital, a school, a grocery store, some houses, and a lot of 2D shapes areas. I named the town Munchkin Pawsville, and the buildings and the roads names are based on different cat breeds. The progress is, first, I started with the planning and sketching of what I want the town to look like, and then I started on the measurements. I counted all of the shapes, and then I moved on to the real 3D project on cardboard. In my math program, I learned about all the measurements of 2D and 3D shapes and their unique properties. I also learned about different types of angles and lines. One example is the parallelogram. The parallelogram in my map is the lake. The parallelogram's properties are that it has 4 sides, 4 vertices, 4 angles, their opposite sides are equal, and their opposite sides are parallel. Another example is the triangular prism, which on my map is the Sphinx School. The triangular prism is a polyhedra, meaning they have flat faces. They have 5 flat faces, 9 edges, 6 vertices, and volume or capacity is to measure how much space there is inside a shape. Let's have an example. A cuboid, which is the Russian Blue Hospital, on my map. Let's have an example, which is the cuboid. Imagine the cuboid as a real hospital, and to find out the volume or space inside, the formula is length times width times height. And see how many rooms and floors it would fit inside the building. Aside from the volume, I also counted the surface area. Surface area is all the faces of a 3D shape altogether. Let's take the Pixie Bob Groceries for example. The Pixie Bob Groceries is in the shape of a square pyramid. To find out the surface area, I needed to measure the areas of all the faces, which are 4 triangles and 1 square at the bottom. The total is 33 square centimeters based on my measurements. There are different measurements for 2D shapes. Instead of volume and surface area, 2D shapes use area and perimeter. Area is similar to volume. Area is the amount of area or surface inside the shape. Perimeter is the distance around the 2D shape. An example of my perimeter measurements is for the Bengal playground, which is in the shape of an isosceles triangle. I added up 7 centimeters, which is the base, 9.5 centimeters plus 9.5 centimeters for both sides, and all that equals to 26 centimeters. Basically, perimeter is all the sides added up together. As I mentioned before, I also learned about angles and lines. Main Kun Way, which is the street in front of the neighborhood, and the Angora Street, that is on the side of the tall buildings, intersect each other to form a right angle. A right angle is two lines that connect to form a 90 degrees angle. An example of the acute angle is the bottom angles of the Persian Park, which are these ones. The park is in the shape of a trapezoid. The two bottom angles are acute because they are angles below 90 degrees. Obtuse angles are angles that are more than 90 degrees. I also learned about parallel lines. The Main Kun Way and the Manx Drive Way are parallel to each other. Parallel is two or more sets of lines that are parallel. Parallel is two lines or more lines that have the same or equal distance and will never meet. Perpendicular lines are lines that intersect or cross each other and make a point, which is called the point of intersection. In my opinion, learning geometry is important because the world is made up of many shapes and spaces, and learning about this topic can help us understand the measurement of shapes, angles, and lines found in the everyday world. A lot of jobs also have something to do with geometry, like engineers, construction workers, animators, computer graphics and designers, and more. Knowing how to count the volume or area of a certain surface or shape is also important because we need to know how much space is inside. For example, imagine you're knowing how much space inside your room has, so you know what sizes of furnitures you can buy and fit inside the room. Another example is you need to know how much paint to buy to cover a whole wall. In making this project, I faced some challenges like finding the measurements. It was a bit challenging because I needed to make sure I used the right units of measurements and in like cubic and square roots. I was also struggling at the beginning planning the map because I didn't really know what it should look like, and there were a lot of requirements to fulfill. Some of the requirements are two sets of streets that are perpendicular, one street that intersect with another to form an obtuse angle, a hospital in the shape of a cuboid, and a few more. The most interesting part of my map is making the 3D model of my map. I had so much fun painting them and making them and seeing it coming to life from a piece of paper. I also love that I can make my own length, width, and height for every shape. It was cool feeling like an architect, and I'm proud of the measurements I did. There were a lot of shapes and surfaces on my map, and I counted all of them with things that I've learned throughout my math program. Skills that I've improved are committed to do all my work and assignments, time management, practicing a lot, learning from my mistakes, and being precise with my measurements. In learning geometry and making this project, I practiced a lot of other skills too, like my visual skills, my drawing skills, and my measurement skills. Learning geometry changed my perspective of their importance. In my math program, the teachers gave many examples or word problems using real-life situations that have something to do with geometry. And now I understand better why we need to learn this topic and how it can help us in the future. That's all I want to say. Thank you for listening.
Oh, what an informative and clear explanation, Nadine. And also a neat and colorful town you got there. I like how the way you paint all the buildings there. Okay, Thank you. Now please give applause to Nadine for sharing with us. Yay. Now, last but not least, we still have our final speaker, Sultan, who will be presenting his mathematics reflection also on geometry. Okay. Now, Sultan, please come to stage. The time is yours.
Hello, my name is Sultan and I'm from year 6D. I will be explaining my learning process throughout math. I made a 3D town model using the skills I learned in math, and I will elaborate on how to find the volume and surface area of a cylinder. In math, I learned how to calculate all the measurements of 2D and 3D shapes along with their unique properties. I also learned about angles and lines. A perpendicular line is a line that intersects with another line at a 90-degree angle. An example of a perpendicular line is this. A parallel line are a set of two or more lines that are the same distance from each other and never meet. An example would be these two lines and these two. An acute angle is an angle that is less than 90 degrees, and it looks like this. A right angle is an angle that is precisely 90 degrees, and it looks like an elbow. An example would be this. An obtuse angle is an angle that is more than 90 degrees but less than 180. And a straight angle is an angle that is precisely 180 degrees, and it looks straight like a line. Now, a reflex angle is an angle that's more than 180 degrees but less than 360 degrees. An example would be this one here. The last angle is a complete angle, which is precisely 360 degrees. The name of my town model is Ecosystem Town. The names of my streets and buildings are based on things that exist in an ecosystem. My town model contains two cubes, a rectangular prism, a triangular prism, a cylinder, a parallelogram, an isosceles trapezoid, and an isosceles triangle. The triangular prism is a school, and the cylinder is a town hall. The pink and bigger cube is a mall, and the small red cube is an apartment. This parallelogram is a lake, and this isosceles trapezoid is a park, and this isosceles triangle is a playground. My favorite 3D shape in my town model is the cylinder. A cylinder has three faces, one of which is curved. Since it has a curved face, it means that it is a non-polyhedra shape. Finding the volume is easy, and the formula is pi multiplied by the radius squared multiplied by the height of the cylinder. First, we need to calculate the area of the circle. For example, if the radius is 3 centimeters, we can multiply 3.14 or pi by 3 to the power of 2. And then the result is 28.26 square centimeters. And then we can multiply that by the height of this cylinder, which is, let's say, 5 centimeters. So 5 multiplied by 28.26 equals 141.3 cubic centimeters. The formula for finding the surface area is also easy, and it is 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by the radius 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by the radius and then multiplied by the height, and then plus 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by the radius squared. First, we need to calculate the middle part of this. And we need to find the circumference of this top circle first. We can find that by multiplying 2 by pi by the radius of the circle. 2 multiplied by 3.14 equals 6.28, and then 6.28 multiplied by 3 equals 18.84 centimeters. And then we can multiply that by the height of this cylinder, and 18.84 centimeters multiplied by 5 equals 94.2 square centimeters. And then for the area of the top and bottom circles, we can multiply our previous answer by 2. So 28.26 multiplied by 2 equals 56.52 square centimeters. Finally, we can add all of our answers. So it's 56.52 plus 94.2, which equals 150.8 square centimeters. The difference between volume and area is that the inside of the shape is the volume and the outer surface is the surface area. One of my biggest challenges was measuring the height, length, and width to ensure that it was precise and identical to the drawings I made. I ended up measuring them all over again, but it turned out fine. It turns out that the paper models were a lot smaller than I expected, but I didn't have the time to change the sizes and do them again. Finding the volume for the cylinder was a bit of a challenge since I had to do a lot of things, but I could manage to do it. I can use my knowledge if I want to buy a house, some land, or if I want to measure the size of my room. For academic purposes, I can use my current knowledge to help me do future stuff. I remembered that counting the volume was a bit hard, but it was actually a bit easy now. I thought coloring the paper would be exhausting and boring, but it was pretty fun. Since I think lots of advanced math is connected to volume and exponents, I think learning advanced math will be easier if I learn about volume and surface area first. By far, the most fascinating and enjoyable part of this project was decorating my town with lots of colors and details. I liked coloring them and adding little details such as the trees in the park or the seesaw in the playground. I improved my ability to calculate the volume and surface area of shapes and my artistic skills. Now I can calculate the area of a circle since Miss Dia and Miss Tina told me about the formula and pi. I am proud of myself because I've not only made a map of the town, but I also made a 3D maquette based on the map. And it only took me 2 days to make it, so I think I did a good job on this town model. Oh yeah. The reason my cylinder is my favorite shape because I put in the most effort in making this, so it feels a bit special to me. That was my Cikal talk, and thanks for listening.
Wow, that was a detailed and clear explanation, Sultan. Thank you so much. I like the way that you name your town with ecosystem town. Well, that sounds very homey to me. Okay, let's give a applause for Sultan. Yay! Okay, now since Sultan is the last presenter, I would like to invite you to give a final round of applause for all of our presenters today who have done a wonderful job at presenting their learning journeys this year. Yay! What a good job you got there, okay? It's wonderful to hear the different insight from you that you already gained throughout this interesting year, despite learning mainly through virtual classrooms. Okay, well with that, all of the presenters have done presenting their journey. Next up, I would like to invite audience to ask questions to the presenters. Let's begin the Q&A sessions. Audience, please feel free to ask them and write it on the chat room. Okay? Okay, I think all the audiences here are very they are amazed with all your work, guys. Most of the comments are good job and congrats, well done, something like that. Well, what about question? Do you guys have any question for the presenters here? Okay, ada yang punya. Oh, okay. Well, I think actually I have a question to ask. I think since I see that all of your project are well executed, actually I am curious. How long did it take for you to finish the project? Okay, who would love to share?
So for me, it took me a month or so, a month or 2 weeks, a month and 2 weeks, I think.
A month and
yeah, with all the designing and where things will go and the building things and the sticking.
Yes. Yeah. From planning to calculating the volume as well.
Oh, calculating for everything.
Wow. Okay, what a good job there. What about the others, Nadine? Alvaro, how long did it take?
It took about like 3.5 weeks to do all of the things from planning to the publishing.
From planning to publishing, yeah. Okay, 6 weeks and then 3.5 weeks. What about Alvaro?
For me, I don't really remember the exact date or the exact how much any months or weeks for me to complete, but I think it took like either 3 weeks or maybe 3 weeks or 1 month. I don't remember exactly, or less. I don't remember because I didn't count it or something.
Oh, okay. What about Sultan? If I'm not mistaken, I heard that he said about 2 or 3 days.
2 days, he said.
Am I right? 2 days.
But with
correct?
all of the planning and the stuff, I think it was 5 weeks, miss.
Okay, 5 weeks. So 2 days maybe for only making the town, right? Without the planning and the calculation. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, we have one question here from Agafa. Agafa here asked for Rafe. He asked that, why did you use different Lego bricks? Nah.
Oh, like I said, I was running out of Legos real quick and I didn't have a lot, so I had to use all that I can. All that I have.
Okay, so he used it because That's the only Lego bricks that he has, right? Okay. Well, actually, I have a question related to that one. Well, how did you prepare all the materials for the project? I mean, remembering that this is the pandemic situation. I mean, I suppose you cannot go easily to the stores maybe to buy the materials. And then how did you manage to get the materials?
So before the whole pandemic thing started, I was obsessed with Legos. I really love Legos and playing with them. But my mom wouldn't let me get a lot only until my birthday, and that's when I started to have a bunch of Legos in my collection that I can use to make a town.
Okay, from the collection. Is there anyone that what about the others? I mean, is there anyone that only buy the materials or maybe use the one that you already have? Like maybe
the question was, how did you prepare the materials, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically what I did, tadinya I already had some Legos from my home. So I just used for some of my model materials, it was from myself. Tapi some were when my mom and I bought some Legos because I knew all of the Legos I had probably weren't enough. So I asked my mom to buy a few for materials, and then yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I could have decided to use maybe paper or something that's not Lego, but in my opinion, I think ini apa? I would rather just have one specific material other than having to use like paper and then Lego because it might be overwhelming or just complicated.
Oh,
Kan like maybe the Legos itu kan dibeli and then maybe kalau paper nggak ada dibeli jadi ya complicated.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Well, actually there's a question from Intan ya, Ibu Intan ya. How much time did you spend to do this project? Oh, I think actually we already talked about that one, yeah. We already shared that some of them spend around 3 weeks, yeah, 3 to 6 weeks for the whole project, yeah, from the planning until the calculation. Okay, final question. I have one question from Ibu Ulfa here. She asked, "What's the benefit of learning this topic?"
Can I go? Can I go? So
okay,
the benefit for me is I think that maybe I can use this in the future for like building my house. I can make the model of my house, and I'll tell them what the volume I want the volume to be, and I'll show them the model that I built. Maybe I can even build my own blueprint so they would know what to do. That's the benefit that I think I could use from it.
Okay. What about Sultan? Maybe wants to add answers to this one.
Well, we can use it if we want to make something, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, if you want to make something, you think that the skills can be reused again, right? Oh, okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. Actually there are 2 more questions. Okay. I think this is the last. These 2 should be the last questions. Okay. This is from Ibu Ika. To all presenters, in your opinion, how does it feel different when you should finish a project while having online school than finishing them at school? How does it feel? Yes, Nadine.
It's different because in offline school, the teachers can guide you and help you, but at home, you can also have more time to do it.
Oh,
And yeah, and seeing like your friends do it, we can like share ideas and stuff. So it's really fun to do it at school, but there are also like benefits when you do it online.
oh, okay. Thank you, Nadine. What about Rafe or Sultan? How does it feel different when you should finish it online compared with
It's different because, like Nadine said, the teachers can help us with a lot of things, but it would be also different because I would have help from other people, maybe a lot more suggestions from other people that I should change this. Maybe they can like help me on what to do. Maybe to move the airport somewhere and in a different spot like that.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Well, actually, this is the last one. I think I would love to hear Sultan or Alvaro to answer this one. This is the last one. Okay. This is from Ibu Atika or Atika. Yeah. Do you have any suggestions to students who hate math? What should they do to remove their phobia of math? I mean, we can see that you enjoy learning.
I know. I think they should try maybe try some practices, and maybe it can grow onto them and they might like it more.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Rafe. Alvaro?
I don't really know, but maybe like yeah, jadi kan it depends on why do they hate math. Do they hate math because it's complicated? Do they hate math because they're not good at it? Is it like what? Yeah. But like for example, if you hate math because it's complicated, then or actually no. If you hate math because you are not good at it, you should do practices and then like yeah, practice and then do these assignments and then think truly and then yeah. But if you hate math because it's complicated and you're not good at it, I mean, at least don't hate math. But if you're not good at math, it's okay to admit that you have a weakness on math. You just maybe you're not suited for math, but at least don't hate math. And yeah.
Okay, so maybe you mean was even though you're not that good at math, please at least do not avoid math, right?
Yeah.
Because once you avoid it, then it's even harder for you to like it, right?
Yeah, if you just try to practice, and it's okay if like you have a weakness on math.
Okay.
Because not everyone maybe not everyone knows how to do math like goodly or something. Yeah.
Okay. So
Everyone
maybe other ways to like math. You can also ask for help from someone who already knew, who understand more about it, right?
Mm.
Okay. Sultan, do you have any comment on this one? Do you want to add?
Maybe you can practice more, and if you find practicing math a bit boring, you can apply to everyday things. For example, you can find the volume of your table and the surface area of the table, or maybe you can count the volume of the house. So you can apply math to everyday life to make it fun.
Oh, what a nice idea. Okay, thank you, Sultan. Oh, all right. Thank you for all the questions and feedback given for the presenters. It is very delightful to see such impactful and powerful projects from all presenters during their presentation. Now let's give them another virtual round of applause for their hard work, okay, and their achievement. Yay! What a great job you got there. Okay, so I would like to remind you all that this event doesn't stop today. Tomorrow, there are other interesting performances that you should watch. You can also browse through our virtual gallery on our website. You can see all of our events there and check out other streamed events on Sekolah Cikal official YouTube. Lastly, I would like to say thank you one more time to all the audience here today, fellow students, proud parents, and also respected guests. Thank you for having me as your host. Good afternoon and see you all. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.